We played around a little bit with text view, and the other view we want to learn about now to make our birthday card is the image view. Now here's the XML for image view. Let's look at the lines one at a time. The XML element starts with an open angle bracket, ding, and then the name of the view, whoosh, and then the list of attributes, pew, 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 pew. Then it's followed by a / and then a closing angle bracket, boom. When we wrote the XML for text view, it displayed text on the screen. So now when we write image view here, it displays an image on the screen. The first attribute is something we haven't seen before. It says Android source equals @drawable/cake. This is saying that the source for this image should be found in this file here. The file name is called cake. We use the @ symbol to say that we're referencing a resource in the Android app, and drawable is the resource type. A drawable is like a graphic that will be shown on screen in Android. And again, cake is the file image name. We don't include the file extension. Like, you don't need to say if it's a JPEG or a PNG image, just say the file name. If you're wondering where this image came from, well, we handled this a little bit differently in the XML visualizer compared to the app. But basically, we loaded in a bunch of images beforehand so that you can use them to practice in the XML visualizer. When you build your app in Android Studio, you're going to have to add images manually into your app, into the drawable folder. Now, if I try to reference an image that doesn't exist, for example, the toys image does not exist, then there will be an error because toys is not a valid image. So make sure that you only reference images that are available. So let's change it back by hitting undo. Now we have the width and height, which are set to be wrap content, so that the image view is only as big as the cake image inside of it. Lastly, we have this attribute called Android scale type, and it's set to be center. Scale type tells the device how to scale up or scale down the image based on the bounds of the image view. Let's see what that looks like. Now you can see the cake image showing up on the device. The cake image is actually pretty large, and it's larger than the screen size. So when we say scale type, it doesn't change the size of the image, it just centers it. So we see that the cake image is actually really big, but this is the center of the cake image. We can set other values for scale type, such as center crop. This scales down the image to fit the height and width of the view. In this case, we're constrained by the size of the screen. We also maintain the aspect ratio of the original image so it doesn't get distorted. Once we scale it down, we also center the image and then crop it so that it fits this view size. When displaying photographs, I like to use center crop. This is because it's typically okay to crop off the edges of the photograph in order to achieve this edge-to-edge look. When images go edge-to-edge without any white border or anything, this is what we call a full bleed image. We use a lot of full bleed images in the material design guide. Here are some examples. You see how the images go edge to edge here, and it gives it a nice immersive feel. Okay, now it's time for you to try. Specifically, we would love for you to be able to change the height and width of the image view to be a fixed dp value. Try something like 100 dp. Then change the scale type between center and center crop. And you can also adjust the height and width of the image accordingly. For example, what happens if you change the height and width of the image view to be greater than the size of the device? Or what happens if you set the height and width to be something smaller than the size of the device? In those cases, you may see different behavior for center and center crop. Also try to change the image to something else by checking the available images link. We've included a small version of the cake image as well as a larger version so that you can try the different scale types. We also included an Android icon. Use the link below to get to the XML visualizer.